I wanted to ask the coach, what do you think about being known as the people's coach because of your humility, your closeness, your kindness, and how generally nice you are perceived? You know, each person is the way each person is. There are lots of negative aspects about people. I have those negative aspects too. I try to minimize these and to maximize the positive aspects. I like spending time with my players. I also like talents, but what I prefer even more is when people can handle their talents to the best of their ability, and that's what players do. I find them very nice, and even more when they win. But really, my objective is not to be nice. It's something that's just happened naturally. What feelings have you brought to Madrid, and how do you expect to leave? What do you expect to feel when you leave tomorrow? We will clearly we will attempt to do as best as possible. The team are very happy ahead of this game. Any player would like to play at the Bernabeu. I've never played here as a player. Therefore, the atmosphere, I hope the atmosphere won't knock me down, and I hope we can play as best as possible. The last 3 games, you've got points in all of them. This proves that you have a great stability, that you are being successful. What role does Grosskreutzer have in this success? I don't know who's playing a most significant role in this success, whether it's Grosskreutz. If he hadn't been in the team, perhaps some of these successes would have been a bit more difficult to attain. But it's true that we can't depend on a single player, and of course, the quality that we have is due to the entire team. It's true that this player is a very good footballer. He's very fast. He has a great heart for football in general. And of course, he's a very important player for the team. Someone who has such a big heart. We know that tomorrow some other players will have a few issues. We will attempt to solve them, to see how everyone is, and we will make a decision. Of course, if Grosskreutz plays, he will be very important. Is it important for you and your tactics if Modric, Xabi Alonso, Essien play? And in any case, what are your tactical considerations for tomorrow? Of course, we're very far from being able to say that we're fortunate that Sami Khedira is not able to play. Of course, we're not going to say that. We are prepared for a situation where Modric and Xabi Alonso will play in the midfield. These are very strong, very hard players, particularly Xabi Alonso. Both are very good, and both have shown everything they're able to do. And for us, it will not be an advantage that any of the players will not be present. Of course, we're not thinking either whether our game will be determined, by what Madrid does. Our game will depend on other things. Real Madrid has very versatile, highly technical players that can play any position. What we're going to try to do as much as possible is to, cause trouble, to be dangerous. We've already beat them. For example, when Di Maria on the right wing, he's done lots of very good games, and when he starts running, there's very little we can do about this. But we'll try to stop him because that can really hurt, that can damage our defense. Of course, if these players are in good condition, Real Madrid players, then we have to be very careful with all of them. What we will try to do is to stop these individual actions, but it won't depend on whether Modric plays or not. After the match at Dortmund, Iker Casillas, Real Madrid captain, said that Real Madrid was vulnerable on the left-hand side. Was that something you told your players specifically, bearing in mind that Real Madrid had issues on that side? No, it's not something I said ahead of the match in Dortmund. We have an enormous amount of respect for Real Madrid to be able to tell my players to attack on one side more than the other because the left back was not doing well. That's not something we do in the Bundesliga, and neither we do this with Real Madrid. We're very good on the wings. We're relatively happy with our game on the lines or the wings, and if we use our weapons wisely, then we should be able to cause trouble for Real Madrid. But of course, what I do will not depend on the tactical weaknesses that Mourinho may have. What we will try to do is to close up on the gaps, to not give them any space to play, and to try and always cover our backs. And we will try as well to have a clear mind, and that perhaps will be the key of the game. Real Madrid has scored many goals. It's a highly offensive team, very difficult to defend. It's clear that they have great attacking power. It will be even more difficult because they will be playing at home. So tomorrow it will doubtlessly be a great challenge for the whole team. There's nothing else to say about Real Madrid players. They're high-quality players. And it's logical that because they will be playing at their stadium, there will be more attacking against us. We have to fight, and all of us, all 11 players, will have to fight together. Not only the 4 or 5 defenders in the back, but it is possible to stop them if we know how they play and we know we're able to stop them. This question is for Mr. Klopp. Look at your face. Mourinho said that he has a lot of respect for you. Do you have the same amount of respect for Mourinho as well? Well, of course. Mourinho is very good. Clearly, the coach has the respect that the team give him and that he has earned. And in that respect, me and my players, we're all a very closely knit group, and we know that good times and bad times are for all of us together, and we will try to reach this together. We're willing to face this game with in very high spirits, and it's clear that my players are very high quality players. They're great mentally, and they will play as if this were the final. For this is very important, and it's true that all players of all teams, all of us from different teams have a lot of respect for him. But of course, there are many very good teams, there are at least 20 very good teams in the world, and I would like to play like them. And Real Madrid is clearly one of them as well. But my team is one of them as well, and this I would like to pay this compliment to my team as well. Real Madrid players also respect Borussia Dortmund players. What do you think about this? Mesut Özil has said that he's very respectful of Dortmund, but also he's a wonderful player. He is a world-class player. He is way above average. And of course, no one has to teach him how to play football. But we can't forget all of the other Real Madrid players. They can score goals at any point. Who do you think is the best coach in the world? Mourinho, Del Bosque, you? Jose Mourinho, logically. Of course, I'm not going to give him any extra motivation, quite the contrary. You've mentioned a few names, you've also forgotten to mention a few, but of course Mourinho is a very good coach, one of the best. Is an international character, and he's very nice, even though many people might be surprised by this. He's a very nice guy. And he's also a very good partner. You said that you've never played here. Could it happen that in the first couple of minutes, perhaps you respected Real Madrid too much, or you might be too nervous? No, I don't remember ever being nervous. I can't say that won't happen. I'm not saying that that's impossible. But of course, I'm prepared. I know pressure will be very high, but perhaps this will give me wings instead of put me down. This is a game that where we can win a lot, and perhaps we might have a surprise, but we will definitely attempt to win.
Anything? No. You played a perfect game away at Manchester. You scored a few goals, but the play was totally perfect. Away. Now you are away again, but the opposition is different. What will you have to do with your team?
Yes, it's a different opponent. But if we look at Manchester City's players one by one, there's some of the most extraordinary players on the planet. Therefore, it's not a matter of making comparisons. We have to respond to every rival with the appropriate weapons. And we know, for example, that we have to occupy certain spaces to close them up properly. In Manchester, we managed to apply a very good system, and it wasn't a surprise for us. We knew that we could play very well in the Champions League. And of course, having to achieve all of this success has been very good for us, has given us a lot of confidence ahead of the game against Real Madrid. And of course, tomorrow we will not be scared at all. It is also true that we have a lot of respect for Real Madrid, but this cannot be greater than it was at home, because we have the greatest respect for Real Madrid. We don't have more when we go away than we do at home. Of course, in Dortmund we tried to be dominant in order to win, and that's the way forward. Although we do know that Real Madrid will be particularly motivated, not only because they will be playing at their home stadium, but because they probably thought they were going to win in Dortmund, so they will be motivated because they lost in our stadium. So what happens with Bender and Hummels and Kiel as well? Whatever happens with them will depend on the final training session, whether he plays or not. We will see. I've already said this. We'll see whether he's okay to play. We will try to make sure they both play, but we will have to see, particularly the facial mask for Kiel, whether he's able to play with it on or not. At the moment, he's training completely in normal conditions. He seems to be doing well. We will see. We will be monitoring him, and we will make a decision based on how he does. Of course, with the mask that Kiel will be wearing, he might be a little bit impaired. That's not something that people would enjoy wearing. Thank you for your interest, and thank you for your hospitality at Real Madrid's press conference room, and we will see you tomorrow evening. Thank you. But really, my objective is not to be nice. It's something that's just happened naturally. What feelings have you brought to Madrid, and how do you expect to leave? What do you expect to feel when you leave tomorrow? We will clearly look for, we will attempt to do as best as possible. The team are very happy ahead of this game. Any player would like to play at the Bernabeu. The last 3 games, you've got points in all of them. This proves that you have a great stability, that you are being successful. What role does Grosskreutzer have in this success? There are lots of negative aspects about people. I have those negative aspects too. I try to minimize these and to maximize the positive aspects. I like spending time with my players. I also like talent, but what I prefer even more is when people can handle their talents to the best of their ability, and that's what players do. I find them very nice, and even more when they win. I wanted to ask the coach, what do you think about being known as the people's coach because of your humility, your closeness, your kindness, and how generally nice you are perceived? Each person is the way each person is. I've never played here as a player. Therefore, the atmosphere, I hope the atmosphere won't knock me down, and I hope we can play as best as possible.